If it's not obvious from the 500 videos I've made yapping about it, I love Kohei Horikoshi's My Hero Academia. And after reviewing the final season and the epilogue OVA, I thought I was finally done making videos on his works. But on a random Wednesday morning, this dinosaur killing asteroid hit my Twitter feed. And oh boy, are we back. Quit Laughing Shijima is a special one-shot released in the latest issue of the weekly Shonen Jump, marking the grand comeback of Kohei Horikoshi. It might seem like a simple horror romance, but you'd be surprised by how deep and thoughtful themes it manages to present in just 60 pages. Shijima's adorable personality makes everybody fall in awe of her. She radiates this positive energy that charms people and draws all eyes to her. Every moment you see her, she's laughing and happy. But the secret behind that charm is much darker than you'd expect. Konoshiro City has been practicing a weird ritual for decades now. To keep the ocean calm and stable, every year they choose a girl from families who have lived here for a long time and sacrifice her to the sea god, the Deep Dweller. The said families receive insurance, money and other privileges, while the girl is given a fishhook. And this year the chosen one is Shijima. The reason she's always laughing is not because she's well settled or has a loving family, but it's the exact opposite. She is inevitably going to die and her family essentially traded her for cash, and yet she's convinced to always be happy about this. She's convinced to feel special for being the chosen one. They name buildings and roads after these girls, people start worshipping them, and the entire city makes it impossible for them to be sad about their own sacrifice. All this time, she was basically huffing that copium. This is where her friend Azumi comes in. Back in middle school, he moved to the city for the first time, where he started seeing these weird creatures that nobody else could. Not wanting to stand out in an already new city, he chose to keep this to himself. But after noticing the fishhook Shijima carries and instances of those monsters targeting her, Azumi put two and two together and figured Shijima with that hook is in danger. And it all came to a boil when on a festive night, he saw the sea monsters heading towards Shijima's house. So despite being stopped multiple times, despite people convincing him that the ritual is necessary and he shall not interfere, Azumi rushes to save Shijima. Then we get an elaborate battle shonen-esque sequence. You know, the title drop, the confession, the I am here, and it ends with Azumi saving Shijima using the help of the past girls who were sacrificed to the sea. It turns out, shockingly, the Deep Dweller ain't no god, but just a monster who terrorized the sea and turned these girls into the ghost Azumi used to see. Now the ending is quite open and definitely leaves room for a potential full-fledged series down the line. Shijima, with the contracted money, leaves the city, and Azumi makes it his purpose to, I guess, hunt other spirits dwelling in the country. God, I love Horikoshi's character designs. Just look at this. This is so beautiful. Now the plot is pretty simple, but we're dealing with Horikoshi here. He loves baking his lasagna with several layers. Let's talk about them. Firstly, I love how the story feels and is an obvious allegory for how communities tend to perpetuate outdated beliefs and rituals without even questioning whether they are still needed in the modern world. The sacrifices made to the Deep Dweller are obviously the outdated rituals, and Azumi is the one not accepting the current status quo. But it never straight up rejects the old ways or makes them look stupid. Instead, it chooses a more mature, and I hate to say it, a more political angle. The traditions and customs a society cultivates are supposed to serve the people within it. People back in the day had their valid reasons behind practicing their beliefs. But when those norms become not necessary and in some cases harmful, they no longer serve their purpose and should be replaced. But they are not, because the system relies on you blindly believing anything. Because truth is not always what's real, but what enough people agree is real. No one symbolizes this better than Shijima. If she were to raise her resentment, she would be cast out. So she hides all her pain behind a smile. She glorifies her death as a sacrifice for the greater good of the city. This way, at least she won't be seen as just a sheep on the chopping board. Her obedience is what holds the tradition together. This point is further developed in Azumi's conversation with Yoshifusa. The system not only wants you to believe in anything, but also to shut the fuck up even if you don't. Yoshifusa knew all about the sacrifice, yet he chose not to question it, as he was just following the norm and went with the established order. Azumi is left shocked during this conversation, not at Yoshifusa, but in realizing he has been unknowingly supporting this barbaric tradition by simply being unaware. Even those like him who didn't know of the tradition help perpetuate the system. The more oblivious you are, the better. Now what if I tell you this is where Horikoshi loosely ties MHA into the story? Hear me out. MHA constantly pushes the narrative that heroism does not exclusively belong to heroes. One symbol of peace can never hold a society together. It takes even the ordinary people to do what they can do. But what made the bystanders so complacent to begin with? It's not simply that people don't care. In MHA, it's All Might. His heroism was to become a symbol that everyone could put their trust in, so they could live their lives while he alone maintained peace. And the symbol persona only works if he seems like this over-the-top god-like creature, which makes every ordinary person feel like they can't contribute in any way. Cause you can never be All Might, and only All Might saves the day. And in this, it's the societal norms that have become so deeply ingrained in the city that people are afraid of standing out or breaking the natural flow. And even the moral disgust of a few is suppressed by the masses. This is where you need a figure like Azumi. He grew up in a different city without the norms embedded in the people of Konoshiro. But also, since the first introduction, he was portrayed as someone unafraid to stand out. Without a rigid structure governing his life, he was able to think more freely than those around him. A hero is just a nice person, and a nice person always has the courage to stand up against oppression, even if it means going against the crowd. We are all complacent bystanders if we remain passive and let evil persist while being ignorant or blind to reality. The message Hori is trying to give readers with Quit Laughing Shijima is to look beyond the facade the system creates and not accept harm being done to the people using this system. A hero stands up against inequality regardless of what society has agreed to collectively believe. This is what I love about Hori's writing. He always manages to load his stories with something deeper that goes beyond your action adventure. Now I do have one negative. I think the one-shot utterly fails in the horror department. Not even that the art tries to be scary, but it just doesn't land. The manga doesn't even try to make you jump out your seat. In total, there is one page that was a bit scary, and I'm using the word scary very loosely. It would be fine if the horror didn't come from on-your-face stuff, but from more subtle things that make you feel eerily uncomfortable. But we don't even get that. Yes, the few panels of the sea monsters do capture a bit of that uncomfortable feeling, but I just expected way more, given how phenomenal an artist Hori is and how long he has been wanting to draw a horror manga. Don't get me wrong, the art is still beautiful in this one shot, but doesn't dwell into the horror as much as it could. I don't think Hori will draw a horror manga again, so I wish this would have gone deeper into that sauce and explored a more eerie, weird and dark art style. But that's about it for this video. Hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, then please like, subscribe and comment down if you thought the goat still got it, cause I sure do. But apart from that, be safe, be nice, and I'll see you guys the next time. Goodbye.